Okay, so this is the Daf Yomi for Thursday, February 27th, 2025. We're in Sanhedrin 72. Okay, the Gemara says, it is taught in a Braita that further elaborates upon the words of the Mishnah. Rabbi Yoshi Hagalili says, is it simply due to the fact that the boy ate a tamar of meat and drank a half log of Italian wine? The Torah states that he shall be taken out to court to be stoned. Rather, the Torah penetrated the ultimate mindset of the stubborn and rebellious son and the inevitable results of his actions. It is understood that he will continue on this path, and in the end he will squander his father's property, and then seeking the pleasures to which he had become accustomed to, and not finding them, he will go out to the crossroads and rob people. The Torah said that it is better that he should die now when he is still innocent, and he should not die later when he is guilty. This is because the death of the wicked is beneficial to them and also beneficial to the world, while the death of the righteous is detrimental to them and detrimental to the world. The sleep and wine of the wicked is beneficial to them and beneficial to the world, while that of the righteous is detrimental to them and detrimental to the world. The tranquility of the wicked is detrimental to them and detrimental to the world, while the tranquility of the righteous is beneficial to them and beneficial to the world. The dispersal of the wicked is beneficial to them and beneficial to the world, while the dispersal of the righteous is detrimental to them and detrimental to the world. Makes you think of exile, right? But anyway, the Mishnah says, a burglar who is found breaking into a house may be killed by the owner of the house with immunity. Exodus 22, verse 1. He too is sentenced on account of his ultimate end, as it is presumed that if the owner of the house would resist the burglar would kill the owner of the house. If the burglar was breaking into a house, and in the course of doing so he broke a barrel, if there is blood guiltiness for killing him, that is, if the owner would be liable for killing him, the burglar is liable to pay for the value of the barrel. An example of this is if a father broke into his son's house, in which case it is presumed that even if the son resists his father would never kill him, and therefore the son may not kill his father, and if he does so, he is liable. If there is no blood guiltiness for killing him, if the homeowner would be exempt from punishment for killing him, the burglar is exempt from paying for the barrel. Rava says, what is the reason for this halacha concerning a burglar who breaks into a house? He explains, there is a presumption that a person does not restrain himself when faced with losing his money. And therefore this burglar must have said to himself, if I go in and the owner sees me, he will rise against me and not allow me to steal from him. And if he rises against me, I will kill him. And the Torah stated a principle, if someone comes to kill you, rise to kill him first. And Rav says, if a burglar broke into a house and took certain vessels, and he then left and was caught only afterward, he is exempt from the obligation to pay restitution for the vessels. What is the reason? He required the vessels with his blood. And when he broke into the house, he risked his life, as the owner could have killed him. This grave risk that he took exempts him from any other more lenient punishments that could otherwise could have been imposed upon him, including the obligation to pay restitution. Rava says, Rav's statement is reasonable in a case where he broke the vessels in the court of robbing, so that they no longer exist, and the issue is only whether he has to pay for them. But if he took the vessels and they are still extant, Rav's ruling does not apply. The Gemara comments, but by God, Rav states his ruling even with regard to a case where the burglar took the vessels and they are still extant. That is to say, Rav himself does not diminish between the two cases, as in a case where there is blood guiltiness for killing him. That is, in a case where a father came to steal from his son, if an accident occurred to the vessels, the burglar is liable to pay for them. Apparently, the vessels are established in the burglar's possession, and he must pay for any damage that occurs to them. He also then, where there is no blood guiltiness, the vessels are established as being in the burglar's possession and they are his. Rava explains, but this is not so. That is, there is no proof from the case that can be applied to this one. One can claim that when the merciful one established the vessels in the burglar's possession, that was only concerning accidents, so he should be liable to pay for any damage that occurs to them. But as for ownership, they remain in the possession of the owner, but as it is in the case of a borrower. Even though a borrower is liable to pay for all the accidental damage caused to the item he borrowed, nevertheless, the borrowed item does not become his property. The Gemara raises an objection against Rav. We learned in a Mishnah that if the burglar was breaking into a house, and in the course of doing so he broke a barrel, if there is blood guiltiness for killing him, the burglar is liable to pay the value of the barrel. If there is no blood guiltiness for killing him, he is exempt from paying for the barrel. A precise reading of the Mishnah indicates that the reason he is exempt is that he broke the barrel, so where there is no blood guiltiness for killing him, he is exempt from paying for it. But if he took the barrel, he would not be exempt. Rather, he would be liable, counter to the ruling of Rav. The Gemara explains, the same is true, that is, that the burglar would be exempt even if he took the barrel, and that which was taught in the Mishnah, he broke the barrel, serves to teach us that when there is blood guiltiness for killing him, then even though he broke the barrel, it is no longer extant, he is also liable to pay for it. The Gemara raises an objection. Isn't it obvious that he is liable? This burglar is like any other person who causes damage and is liable to pay for it. The Gemara answers, this Mishnah teaches us that he is liable even if he broke the barrel unintentionally. The Gemara objects once again. What is the Mishnah teaching us with this ruling? Does it teach that the legal status of a person is always that of one forewarned, therefore he is liable even for unintentional damage? But we already learned this in a Baraita. The legal status of a person is always that of one forewarned. Whether the damage was done unintentionally or intentionally, whether by unavoidable accident or whether it was done willingly, the Gemara comments, indeed this presents a difficulty for Rav. So Rav Bevai bar Abaya raised an objection to the ruling of Rava from a Baraita. One who steals a purse on Shabbat and takes it into a public domain is liable to pay for what he stole, even though he also desecrated Shabbat, which is a transgression for which one is executed by stoning. Ordinarily, one who is liable to receive two punishments for the same offense is administered only the more severe punishment and exempt from the other one. Here, however, he is liable to pay for the purse and is executed, because he was already liable to pay for the theft as soon as he lifted the purse. And this took place before he came to violate the prohibition of performing prohibited labor on Shabbat by carrying the purse into the public domain. The Baraita continues, if he did not lift the purse, but rather was dragging it on the ground and exiting the private domain, he is exempt from paying for what he stole. As in this case, since he did not lift the purse, he would become liable to pay for the stolen item only when he drags it out of the owner's property into the public domain. Accordingly, the prohibition of theft and the prohibition of performing prohibited labor on Shabbat, which is punishable with death by stoning, are violated simultaneously. So basically, he broke these two laws simultaneously: the theft and the breaking Shabbat. So, and one who is liable to receive the death penalty is exempt from monetary liability that he incurred with the self-same act. This poses a difficulty to Rava, who ruled that if the stolen item is extant, the burglar must return it. Whereas this Baraita indicates that if one committed a transgression for which he is liable to receive the death penalty, he's exempt from all payments. Gemara answers, and the halacha is that the Baraita must be understood as referring to a case where the burglar threw the purse into a river. Since the purse is no longer extant, he is exempt from having to pay for it, even though he caused the damage intentionally. But if the purse is extant, he is in fact required to return it. It is related that rams were once stolen from Rava by burglars who broke into his house. The burglars came to return the animals to him, but Rava did not accept them. Rava said, since the ruling issued from Rav's mouth that a burglar who may be killed acquires the items he stole, I no longer agree to take them. Apropos, a burglar who breaks into a house, the sages taught in a Baraita, the verses state, if a burglar is found breaking in and is smitten and dies, there shall not be bloodshed on his account. If the sun is risen upon him, there shall be bloodshed on his account. If the sun is risen upon him, there shall be bloodshed on his account. Exodus 22, verses 1 and 2. A question may be raised, but did the sun rise only on him? Rather, these words must be understood in a metaphoric sense. If the matter is as clear to you as the sun that the burglar is not coming to you in peace, but rather his intention is to kill you, arise and kill him first. But if you are not sure about his intentions, do not kill him. It is taught in a Braita, in another Braita. The verse states, if the sun is risen upon him, there shall be bloodshed on his account. A question may be raised, but did the sun rise only upon him? Rather, these words must be understood as follows. If the matter is as clear to you as the sun, that the burglar is coming to you in peace, do not kill him. But if you are not sure about his intentions, arise and kill him. The Gemara notes a difficulty. The halacha is undermined, the halacha in the undetermined case is stated in the first Baraita, contradicts the halacha in the undetermined case as stated in the second Baraita. The first Baraita indicates that if the homeowner is unsure about the burglar's intentions, he is prohibited from killing the burglar, whereas the second Baraita indicates that in such a case he is permitted to kill the burglar. So the Gemara answers, this is not difficult. Here, where the Baraita teaches that if one is unsure about the burglar's intentions, it is prohibited for him to kill him, it is referring to a father who comes to rob his son. A father has great compassion for his son, and therefore it may be presumed that he will not kill his son if he resists. Accordingly, the son is prohibited from killing his father unless he knows for certain that his father has the intention of killing him. There, where the Baraita teaches that if one is unsure about the burglar's intentions, it is permitted for him to kill him, it is referring to a son who comes to rob his father. Since a son has less compassion for his father, it may be presumed that he would be ready to kill his father if he resists. Therefore, the father is permitted to kill his son unless he knows for certain that his son would never kill him. Rav says, with regard to anyone who breaks into my house, I would kill him, as I would presume that he is ready to kill me, except for Rab Hanina bar Shela, whom I would not kill. The Gemara asks, what is the reason that Rav excludes Rabbi Hanina bar Shela? If we say that Rav trusts him because he is a righteous person, this is difficult as the case is one where he broke into the house, which indicates that he is not a righteous person. Rather, it is because he would say, I am certain that he would have mercy upon me just like a father would have mercy on a son. The sages taught in a Braita, if the sun is risen upon him, there shall be bloodshed on his account, Exodus 22 verse 2, both during the week and on Shabbat. If a burglar is found breaking in, there shall not be bloodshed on his account, Exodus 22 verse 1, both during the week and on Shabbat. The Gemara clarifies this Braita. Granted, that with regard to, quote, there shall not be bloodshed on his account, it was necessary to say that this applies both during the week and on Shabbat, as it might enter your mind to say that this is just as it is in the case of those who are executed by the court, who are not executed on Shabbat. Therefore, the Braita teaches us that the burglar may be slain in self-defense even on Shabbat, but with regard to there shall be bloodshed on his account, the statement that this applies both during the week and on Shabbat is puzzling. Now, if on a weekday he may not be slain, it is necessary to say that he may not be slain on Shabbat. Rav Sheshet says, this ruling is necessary only to teach that if a building collapsed on the burglar on Shabbat, one is obligated to clear the pile of stones from on top of him and perform any action necessary to rescue him, even if it involved the desecration of Shabbat. One does not say that while he is not permitted to actively kill him, he is also not obligated to save him. Concerning the verse, it states, if a burglar is found breaking in and is smitten and dies, there shall not be bloodshed on his account, Exodus 22 verse 1. And the sages taught in Braita, and it is smitten by any person who strikes him and dies, by any means of death by which you can put him to death. The Gemara clarifies this Braita, granted, with regard to the words, quote, and is smitten, it is necessary to say that he may be struck by any person, as it might enter your mind to say that it is only the owner of the house whom the burglar is certain will resist him, because there is a presumption that a person does not restrain himself when faced with losing his money. And therefore it is only the homeowner's life that is in danger from the burglar. But as for another person, the burglar is not sure that he will try to stop him, and therefore that other person may not kill him, since the burglar did not come with the intention of killing him. Therefore the Braita teaches us that this burglar is considered a pursuer, and he is subject to the same halacha as anyone who pursues another in order to kill him, namely, that anyone may kill the pursuer in order to rescue the one being pursued. Therefore, even after another person is permitted to kill the burglar in order to save the homeowner, but that which the Braita teaches that the words, quote, and dies, teach that he may be slain by any means of death by which you can put him to death. Why do I need this? The Gemara clarifies the difficulty. This can be derived from the halacha governing a murderer, as it is taught in a Braita. The verse with regard to a murderer states, "He that smote him shall be put to death, for he is a murderer." Numbers 33:21 or 35:21. I have derived only that the murderer is put to death with the mode of execution stated concerning him, namely killing by decapitation or by the sword. From where do I derive that if you cannot put him to death with the mode of execution written concerning him, he is escaping? You can put him to death with any mode of execution with which you can put him to death. The verse states, "He that smote him shall be put to death." Mot yumat. The doubled verb, so you have the mot and then the mat, right? So mot yumat. The doubled verb teaching that he may be put to death in any case by any mode of execution. Why not derive the halacha of a burglar from the halacha of a murderer? The Gemara rejects this reasoning. There it is different, as the verse explicitly states, mot yumat, which serves to include all modes of execution. The Gemara asks, but why not learn from it a principle that can be applied to all people who may be put to death? The Gemara rejects this reasoning. This case does not serve as a source for a principle because of the halacha of a murderer and of a blood redeemer, so a relative of one who killed and is allowed to kill his relative's killer. So reference Makot 11b. So there are two verses that come as one, and two verses that come as one do not teach a principle. In other words, if a halacha is stated with regard to two specific cases in the Torah, the halacha is understood to apply only to those cases. Had the halacha applied to all other relevant cases as well, it would not have been necessary for the Torah to teach it twice. Therefore, the Braita had to teach us that this halacha also applies to a burglar who breaks into a person's house. The sages taught in Braita from the words, "If a burglar is found breaking in," so Exodus 22 verse 1, "I have derived only that this halacha applies to a burglar who came breaking in through a wall. But from where do I derive that the same halacha applies if he was found on his roof, in his yard, or in the enclosed area behind his house?" Therefore, the verse states, "If a burglar is found," which teaches that the halacha applies in any case. That is, so what is the meaning when the verse states breaking in? Because the Torah speaks of the common case, and most thieves are found breaking in. It is taught in another Braita from the words, "If a burglar is found breaking in, I have derived only that this halacha applies to a burglar who came breaking in through a wall." But from where do I derive that the same halacha applies if he was found on his roof or in his yard or in the enclosed area behind his house? Therefore, the verse states, "If a burglar is found," which teaches that the halacha applies in any case. If that is so, what is the meaning when the verse states breaking in? This teaches that his breaking in is his forewarning. If a burglar is found breaking into a house, the owner need not formally forewarn him before killing him. If he is found elsewhere, such a forewarning is necessary. Rav Huna says, if a minor was pursuing another person in order to kill him, the pursued party may be saved with the pursuer's life. That is to say, one is permitted to save the pursued party by killing the minor who is pursuing him. And one does not say that since the minor lacks halakhic competence, he is not subject to punishment. The Gemara explains, Rav Huna maintains that a pursuer in general does not require forewarning, and there is no difference with regard to this matter between an adult and a minor. The essence of the matter is rescuing the pursued party from death, and therefore the pursuer's liability to receive death penalty is irrelevant. Rav Hista raised an objection to Rav Huna from a Braita. If a woman was giving birth and her life was being endangered by the fetus, the life of the fetus may be sacrificed in order to save the mother. But once his head is emerged during the birthing process, he may not be harmed in order to save the mother, because one life may not be pushed aside to save another life. If one is permitted to save the pursued party by killing the minor who is pursuing him, why is this so? The fetus is a pursuer who is endangering his mother's life. The Gemara answers, this is not difficult as it is different there with regard to the woman giving birth, since she is being pursued by heaven. Since the fetus is not acting on his own volition and endangering his mother of his own will, his life may not be taken in order to save his mother. The Gemara suggests, let us say that a Braita supports the ruling of Rav Huna, who said that a pursuer does not require forewarning. If a pursuer was pursuing another person in order to kill him, a third party says to the pursuer, "See that he whom you are pursuing to kill is a Jew and a loyal member of the covenant." And the Torah stated, "Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed." Genesis 9, verse 6. The Torah stated, "Save the blood of this person who is being pursued with the blood of that person who is pursuing him." The fact that there is no indication here that the pursuer must say that he heard the forewarning suggests that forewarning is not required, as stated by Rav Huna. The Gemara rejects this suggestion. Perhaps this Baraita was taught in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yoshi, son of Rabbi Yehuda. It is taught in a Baraita. Rabbi Yoshi, son of Rabbi Yehuda, says a chaver who is thoroughly knowledgeable in halacha does not need to be issued a forewarning by witnesses in order to become liable to be punished, because forewarning is given only to distinguish between unintentional sin and intentional sin, and a chaver is certainly aware of the halacha. The same may be said about a pursuer. Since his malice is clear, he does not require a forewarning. His sin is obviously intentional. Those who disagree with Rabbi Yoshi, son of Rabbi Yehuda, and say that even a chaver needs to be issued a forewarning may say that a pursuer must be forewarned as well. The Gemara suggests, "Come and hear a proof that a pursuer must be forewarned, and therefore one may not save a pursued party by killing a minor who is pursuing him," from a Baraita. If a pursuer was pursuing another person in order to kill him, and a third party said to him, "See that he whom you are pursuing to kill is a Jew and a loyal member of the covenant," and the Torah stated, "Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed," Genesis 9, verse 6. In this case, if the pursuer said, "I know this to be so," he is exempt from being killed. But if he said, "I am doing it on this condition," that is, knowing that I am liable to be killed for this, he is liable to be slain. This indicates that even a pursuer must be issued a forewarning. The Gemara rejects this proof. This forewarning is not necessary except in a case where the pursuer and the person issuing the warning are standing on two opposite sides of a river, so that the latter cannot save the party being pursued by killing the pursuer. What is there for him to do? Unable to save the pursued party, he wants at least to bring the pursuer to court so that he will be convicted and have the death penalty administered to him. But in order to administer punishment, the court requires that the offender receive proper forewarning. It is for this reason that the Baraita speaks of forewarning, but a pursuer may be killed by a bystander even without having been forewarned. If you wish, say instead that Rav Huna could have said to you, "I stated my opinion that it is permitted to kill a minor pursuer in accordance with the Tana, who spoke of the issue of a burglar who breaks into a house, as this Tana says that his breaking in is his forewarning. That is, a burglar who breaks into a house needs no further forewarning. Here too, anyone who is pursuing another in order to kill him does not require forewarning, since his pursuit is his forewarning." And that's the end of Daf 72. So tonight starts the first day of Rosh Chodesh. So keep that in mind. Coming upon Adar. So